I am officially unretiring and I'm looking for team for next split. I'm very happy to say. Um, it's been a long time coming. A lot of people have been asking me, and I have to thank every single one of you that did message me to unretire because honestly, it was probably the first thing that broke my resolve that I was never going to unretire because genuinely, I was convinced I was never going to unretire. It was probably obvious from the streams that I did after I did retire because I was basically just talking about whatever. I wasn't hiding anything. But I genuinely thought I wasn't going to retire. And the amount of support I received and the amount of people asking me to unretire really did um, sway me and make me think about, okay, like what would unretiring look like? How is this going to work? Um, this video is going to be a lot about what I've done and just explain more about what's happening and what this means. So, I've been using this past year to reflect and think about what my life has been like, what are my priorities. And I'm happy to say that I think I've really improved mentally and physically. And I feel very confident that the problems that I had as a pro basically my entire career will not come back up. And I think that it's not going to be a detriment that I haven't been playing. I think it's actually going to be an asset because I'm going to be finally able to use 100% of my power, sort of thing. Because I think I was really hampering myself because I had so much expectations on me. I had so much stress. I was under so much pressure that I really couldn't play. It was debilitating. And I dreaded practice every single day, basically the vast majority of my career because there was no upside. It was go into scrims, play. If I win, good, but not good enough. If I lose, you're terrible. Why are you losing? Why aren't you doing better? That was basically what it was. And every single day, I dreaded playing because if I lost, it was so hard for me. And if I won, it wasn't even like I had something good happen. It was just like, oh, good, I won. That's what should happen because I am better. So it was very psychologically difficult. And at some point, I almost did an intervention for myself where I had lost after LCS and I realized that it was destroying me. Like mentally, I was being like it was so bad for me and so unhealthy for me that I had to stop. And that level of despair that I felt, I hope to never have to feel again. And it is what made me feel so confident like, okay, I'm not going to unretire because this isn't something I'm going to be able to fix in a few, like in a year or in 2 years. It felt like it was going to take a while to like fix these problems. But that ended up not actually being the case. Um, Obviously, I'm not perfect. Not everything's fixed in my entire life, but there are few things that I think are really big changes that really helped me in this past year that make me feel a lot more confident. The first being that I've been going to therapy since May, and therapy is therapy. Some people don't think it works, but for me, it was really, really helpful. I talked about everything. It wasn't just pro sports, but I also talked about sort of my childhood, what I think of myself, what my own goals are. Excuse me, sorry. And all of these things help me build sort of a psychological look into my own life and made me realize like, okay, what do I need to fix to feel better? And I thought this was gonna be a long term thing, but I made a lot of progress in a year. And specifically on the therapy thing, and probably the two big things about it is I felt very isolated when I played. I'm a I'm an introvert, and playing on a team, I'm forced to hang out with, not like forced, I'm working with people for multiple hours, and even though they're my friends, I would consider them my friends, it's still a lot of social interaction, and all that social interaction made it so that when I left work, I was now alone, and I wanted to be alone. And this maybe sort of not be a very good friend because I wouldn't message people, I wouldn't check up on people. And during the split, I would basically talk to nobody. I would talk to the people that would message me first, and basically nobody else. That was how it worked. Um, Obviously, there were some exceptions, um, like, but for the most part, I didn't talk to anyone, and that made me feel very isolated. This isolation is not good for me. Um, I don't think it's good for anyone, honestly. I think everyone needs a support group that can help them, and I didn't have that. So when I had problems, the only thing I knew how to do was take it by myself, and that is something that has changed. It's something I worked on, in therapy. Is okay. I need to be less isolated. I need to be better about this. I need to fix this problem, and I'm happy that now I have people that I can talk to. I have friends that I hang out with, that I'm close to, that I really value their friendship a lot and put a lot of effort into maintaining that friendship. And additionally, family. I'm a lot closer with my family. And specifically, I'm a lot closer with my brother, Luch. Now, I'm not very proud of some of the things I've said about my brother. People that have watched me for a while may have heard me say things about my brother that I no longer agree with. And the gist of it is that I really, really didn't like him. And I really didn't think he was good to me as a brother. I didn't realize how much that mattered to me. Over the years, the past few years, we've both grown, and we've both sort of matured. And a few weeks ago, we had a discussion. And this discussion was not about pro play. It was about us. It was about our interactions, our childhood, our perceptions of one another growing up, as well as some of the more complicated aspects of our family that we had to deal with. I learned a lot about him that I'd never known, and he learned stuff about me that he had never known. And it brought us a lot closer together. And after that conversation, the the one thing that kept repeating itself in my head was, I should unretire. I don't know why. I don't know if I can explain it. I'm sure I can't use the correct words, but I think the best that I can do is say that it felt like I had finally felt the validation that I had been seeking from him basically my entire life. I looked up to him, and I did everything with him basically from the ages of like when I was born to like 13. I always wanted to hang out with him and do everything. I played WoW, I played Warcraft, I played Melee, I played every single game that you can think of with him, and I always wanted to play with him more than anyone else. And he is a big part of who I am today as a person, but also as a competitor. He pushed me to be better because, I mean, he was older than me, so he was just better than me at everything because he's older than me. So, but I always tried to beat him because he was like an insurmountable wall. And the reason I talk about this is I think that when I finally got better than him at some games, he never gave me like the appreciation. He never gave me it. He never said, "Yeah, you're better than me at this." At least in a way that felt satisfying, in a way that felt genuine. And I think all of that, all the years where that never happened and we had a rocky relationship, it mattered to me a lot more than I realized. And that's why after we had this talk and we kind of made up, it made me really want to try again, to try and be a pro again. So I really want to thank him specifically. And I'm really happy that we have a really good, um, like we're making a much better relationship where we talk a lot more and just be brothers to one another instead of completely silent like I basically was for my entire career. Another aspect of therapy that helped for me in being a pro was that you want to enjoy what you do. Everyone wants to enjoy what they do, and I didn't. I like I think I mentioned earlier. I dreaded playing. There was so much stress, so much pressure, and there was almost no upside. The only upside is if you win everything, then it feels good, and you can finally feel like, oh, okay, I've done it. I now can now something is going to be good. But even when I won Academy, I still remember thinking, okay, now I have to get to LCS. I couldn't even give myself I won Academy. Like be happy. It wasn't good enough. And that's not healthy for me. I don't think it's healthy for most people. I think it's important to do what you enjoy. I also constantly tell people that you should play what you enjoy when it comes to solo queue, and there's not really a reason it should be any different for competitive play. So I think that is another thing that I've sort of realized I've come around to that I shouldn't and can't take myself so seriously when it comes to competitive play. It's not like, oh, it shows I care. I need to care this much. It's just bad. It makes me play worse. I get in my own head. I'm incapable of concentrating because all I can think about is I'm terrible. I'm making so many mistakes. Everyone on my team thinks I'm bad. I'm going to get benched. None of those things are productive. I need to, for me to be my best version of myself, I need to enjoy myself. That is just a fact. And it's something that I'm going to make sure is the case when I come back. Now, mental and sort of psychological aside, there's also some physical things that happened that would never have I would never have fixed unless I retired. Two main ones. First one being that I had an allergy issue that came up. Well, I figured it out. I had an allergy issue. It was a skin issue, but it was an allergic reaction, and I fixed it. Now I take whatever the prescription is, and it sounds like a small thing, but it was very debilitating for when I would happen. It was an itchiness issue. It was very hard. Um, Additionally, and more importantly, honestly, is sleep. In December of last year, I did a sleep study, and I just recently, like 3 weeks ago, got my results back and found out that I have sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is incredibly bad, but knowing you have it is much better than not knowing you have it because now I have some sort of understanding about why my sleep has always been so horrible. Sleep apnea, not just day to day being bad, poor sleep, headaches, irritability, restlessness, unable to sleep at night, all those things, which are problems day to day that sleep apnea causes. Also, just long term health effects that I don't really remember, but there's long term bad things that happen. All of that I never would have figured out if I just kept playing because I basically just didn't have the time in Canada to do all of these tests. Like it takes a while for them to get you a sleep study because I have to tell my doctor, then my doctor has to tell the sleep people, then the sleep people have to tell me, and it's booked in advance, and it takes a while. And it's why literally I got my results 3 weeks ago, and I just got my CPAP machine yesterday, and I tried it for the first time last night, and I feel a lot better already after one day. Like when I do this, my head doesn't hurt, which trust me is big. Okay, like that always used to hurt, and now it doesn't, because I would always have a headache, but now it doesn't, and that addresses the physical. So mentally, emotionally, I feel like I'm a lot stronger. I'm a lot in a much better place, and physically, I'm going to be capable of performing at a high level because I don't have these distractions where I don't even know what the problem is. Now I know what the problem is, and I'm doing the things I need to do to deal with them. That's all to say that I'm glad that I chose to retire. I think it was one of the best decisions I ever made. I'm a pretty regretful person. There's a lot of things I wish I could change, but I'm really happy that I made this decision because it was so important that I fix these problems. And I'm really happy at the outcome that I'm going to be unretiring. Now, why am I doing it now? Like, what is the reason I'm doing it exactly right now? Is it the sleep thing? A little bit. A lot of it is genuinely because of you guys. How many people message me? It really, I can't explain. There aren't the words to explain how much it means to me and how genuinely thankful I am that so many people want me to keep playing and want me to succeed. It really truly means a lot. And as well as that, I'm now finally ready to start my life. I basically took a year off, and a bunch of people were like, "What are you gonna do? What am I gonna do?" Parents, friends, everyone asking me what I'm gonna do. I know what I want to do, and it's the same thing I wanted to do when I was a kid. I want to be the best league player in the entire world, and that is not something that I can do later. It's either now or never, and it was never for a while. It was I'm done forever. It's never gonna happen. But now I feel healthy enough, physically met and mentally happy enough that this is what I want to do. And if this doesn't work out, which it might not work out, that is okay. Which is another sentence that I would never have said, but it really is okay to me. Um, I can do other things. Maybe I'll coach, do like team coaching, like Golden Glue, or I can maybe do broadcasting, or I can go back to school, or a variety of other things. But I'm never gonna be able to go back to this. This is it's a now or never thing, and I want to try. I want to try, and this is what I want to do. What does this mean for the future? Well, I'm gonna be playing more League. I'm gonna be trying to stream more. I'm gonna try and do better at streaming, even though it's not good for practice. When you stream, you play worse. Everyone knows that. So I'm not gonna stream all the time, but I'm gonna try and stream more, and I'm gonna try and do a lot more what Revenge was doing when I was on IMT, which is like vlogs and just getting people more of an update on like what's going on with me as a pro instead of just focusing on the game. A lot of people comment on like how none of the pros do this, and I think a valid argument is that if everyone else does it, if all the other pros do it and I don't, then it's good because then I get to practice more, which leads to no one doing it. But I think I know myself, and I know that there's a certain amount of work that I can put in where at some point it's going to be bad for me, and I can use that time instead of using it solely for myself, but also to give back to you guys because you are it's essentially what drives us, and I really appreciate all of you. I hope this wasn't too long and too rambly. I hope you enjoyed watching. I hope you're happy with the news. I hope all of you have a fantastic day, and I hope you wish me luck on my next pro League of Legends adventure. Have a nice day.